So I attended high school in a small town in Connecticut. And speaking for people that attend high school in a small town in Connecticut, I'd like to say that we all collectively at one point do something we regret and wish we could take back. I used to feel that way about this, but now I just think I have a cool story to tell. Let me walk you through the small town atmosphere in case you don't know what it's like. In these towns, everybody knows everybody, and everybody's got something to say about one another. This social dynamic inevitably leads to drama from time to time, whether or not the person that started it meant for that to happen. Unfortunately, this is also where a majority of the entertainment that you're going to get comes from, unless you're already out stirring up your own excitement. One night in particular, my friend Alejandro and I had picked up these two girls from Cromwell. One of the girls, Hillary, was going on about a guy we knew from our hometown, Brody. I guess they had met somewhere, and after exchanging numbers, she was creeped out by him and wanted to tell us all about it. We weren't really paying attention, but here's where it gets weird. We pulled into a package store on Main so that Alejandro could pick up some party favors. He was having a few people over at his place that night. Guess who pulls up while I'm waiting outside with the girls? Brody. If you were there, you would have seen that Hillary was getting uncomfortable. So I lied to him when he asked what we were up to that night. Yeah, man, we're probably going to drive around and do our own thing. I've got to get these ladies home pretty soon anyway, so maybe we'll give you a call later on. He says alright, but when him and his buddy pull away from the packy, they just go and park in a dark alley across the street and stare at us. That's not made up for dramatic effect. They parked in the shadows of an alleyway across the street, killed their lights, and now they're staring in our direction. As you might, we started talking amongst ourselves about this. Hillary seems to be getting more and more uncomfortable. Katie suggests if he's going to follow us, I should just bring them home. Fast forward, Dro's in the car, and we filled him in on what's happened. Now we're pulling away from the packy. As we're taking off, Brody leaves his alleyway, gets behind us. It's abundantly clear that we're now being stalked. Katie's plan to take the girls home gets thrown out the window. What if he follows us all the way to Cromwell? They don't want Brody knowing where they live. So now we gotta think of a way to get out of this situation. Our original plan was to head to Alejandro's. His complex was 5 minutes down Main Street from the packy, but if we're going to lose Brody, I'm gonna have to hop on the back roads. So if you remember, we're in Connecticut. Typically, you'll find Connecticut among top 10 lists of the worst/dangerous roads by state in America. This has to do with a few factors. Central Connecticut is a hilly and heavily forested area, crisscrossed by narrow river valleys. Combining this with roads that wind through the hills, there isn't much visibility. This is perfect if you're trying to lose somebody that's trailing you, because with 2 quick turns, they may have already lost you. So we've hopped off of Main Street, and now we're making our way to the back roads. I put us en route to the highest point in town, the high school on High Street. It's a hill on either side, so after you climb to the top, you'll be met with an equal descent if you continue down the road. I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna gun it up this hill. His car's not gonna be able to keep up. I'm gonna lose him. Then we're gonna get to the top of the hill. Once we get over the crest, we're gonna be going down, and on the opposite side is a 4-way stop. At this 4-way stop, there are trees covering every which way but straight. I'm gonna take a right. There's gonna be a church right next to that spot. I'm gonna pull into this church real fast, kill my lights, go to the back of it, park, and wait. They're probably gonna lose us. Now that I've got the plan worked out, all I gotta do is put it into action. We get to High Street, and I'm pulling away from him. He was on my tail all the way up until then, but now I'm starting to gain speed, and his car can't handle the hill. There's been no other cars on the road this whole time, and I'm debating whether I should blow the stop sign coming up at the crest. It's a 3-way for the turn into the high school. If I don't drop my speed at the crest, we're guaranteed to lose him. His headlights are almost gone from my rear view. As they're disappearing, another oncoming set are coming in front of me, on the other side of the 3-way intersection. Airheaded split-second decision, I decide we're gonna blow it. It's 10 p.m. on a Saturday night, there's only one other car on the road, and the stop sign is for a school that's not currently in session. What's the worst that can happen? Well, there's probably a lot worse that could have happened, but what did happen was that was the chief of police. And I just blew right by him. Instantly the lights turn on. I'm freaking out now because I see that in my rear view. Dro gets a phone call, picks it up. It's CJ in the other car. He's saying, "Dude, Officer just whipped around. You gotta get the out of there." I took the following 30 seconds or so to explain to my passengers a couple things. Number 1, I'm not allowed to have more than one person as a passenger in the car, unless they're family or above the legal drinking age. Number 2, we have some party favors in the car, and even though they're not mine, they're in my possession, and I don't think at this age I'm allowed to have those in my possession. So that being said, I decided I've already come this far. I'm gonna run. The only thing I see now are the red and blue lights flashing in my rear view. Brody and CJ later told me that he popped the Yui so fast it was like something straight out of Tokyo Drift. I wasn't able to see that though. I gun it down the hill. I get to the bottom, I get to the intersection, I take a right. I blow past that church I told you I was going to stop at. Alejandro and the girls are into it now. They're OMGing in the back seat. He's co-piloting directions for me. We're taking rights. We're taking lefts. We got no destination in mind. We're just going. Eventually we find ourselves at the town baseball fields. I pull into the parking lot where me and Alejandro get out of the car to holler at the moon because we could not believe what we just got away with. It was a short-lived celebration. Alejandro was back on the phone with CJ. Turns out by the time Officer had reached the four-way intersection, there was no trace of us, so we doubled back and pulled over Brody instead. Under threat of a more severe punishment, he convinced Brody and CJ to drop a dime on me, and was now giving me two options. Either return to High Street and confront him, or he'd come looking for me, starting with my house. So I made my way back to the scene of the crime, not before dropping off Alejandro and the girls though. I pulled up behind his cruiser as Brody took off. He comes to my window and starts cursing me out about how reckless and stupid I am, saying, "Oh, it's gonna be a long time before you're ever driving again. Give me your license and registration." Hand him my registration, and then I reach for my wallet. Okay, it's not in my back pocket. Let me check the center console. No? Okay, how about between the center console and the seat? OMG. I don't have my license on me. Alright, Soggy, think. What do we do? Let's start with flashing the chief a sheepish grin. I start asking him if he could look it up on his computer. He says, "No, I can't do that." I start asking what's going to happen next. He says, "I got to take you in. You do have a license, don't you?" "Yeah, I do. I just, it's at home. I must have forgot it there." Me, being the genius that I am, able to mastermind an escape plan in a split second, couldn't mastermind a grab your wallet on the way out the door plan that morning. So, I ended up in this situation. When he finds out that my wallet's at home, he decides I'm going to drive home, he's going to follow me, and I'm going to go get it. Because he doesn't believe that I actually have one at this point. And I'm asking him, "Please, man, just take me in. Come on, that's cruel and unusual. You know who lives at my mom's house? My mom. You know who's going to be at my mom's house when we show up there? My mom. You know who's going to kick my ass because of this? My mom. Let me break the news to her a different way than showing up to the door with you." No dice, though. At that point, he had his heart set on taking me to my house, finding out who was responsible for my upbringing, and giving them a thorough piece of his mind. And the moment of truth finally arrives. We both pull into my driveway, and I led the chief to my front door. Usually I just walk right in, but I figured under the current circumstances, ringing the doorbell would be more appropriate. Now imagine the face your mom makes opening the door at 10:30 on a Saturday, only to find the chief of police menacingly standing behind her 17-year-old son, because that's probably close to the one my mom made. It had "EJ, are you fucking kidding me" written all over it. I left him at the door and I took off to go find my license. I was a lot messier than I'm proud to admit back in those days, so it took about 10 minutes to search through the pigsty I call the room and find my license. During that time, the chief of police is painting the most vivid, graphic details from his point of view about the whole thing. By the time I get back to the front door, my mom thinks I'm part of some underground street racing syndicate that's going to take down an international terrorist who has my amnesiac thought to be dead girlfriend on his side. Sorry, that's actually the plot to a movie about street racing, so spoiler alert. She was mortified, shocked, embarrassed, and pissed about all of this. And me? I felt pretty miserable over the fact that my mom had to get involved in this mess that I made. And it was hard for me to look her in the eyes during all of it. He threw the book at me weaker than he could have. Did end up paying a fine for racing, my license was suspended for 2 months, and my insurance got jacked up. But that's not where the night ends. You'll be shocked to find out that I went back out to Alejandro's that night. Brody came and picked me up from my place. We made up pretty fast and just started gushing about everything that happened. Alejandro calls and he wants us all back at his place, where we proceed to tell a room full of people the big story of a small town for the weekend. The worst part of the night is when Brody's going home. He takes Hillary with him. Turns out she really liked the guy and was fronting when she told us she didn't. Hooked up with him that same night. I wasn't upset about Hillary not hooking up with me. Moreover, that this whole incident could have been avoided if she didn't brand Brody as a creep at the start of it all. Yeah, so I'm trying to wrap up this story that I just wrote. You know, the one about the chase? Well, I need to have a moral at the end of it, and I don't know if I should make it. I don't know if I should make it. Don't ride around without a license. Don't blow stop signs. Don't run away from the police. I could even make it not to trust a girl that says she's not into a guy.
Yeah, do that.
Are you sure that'd be a positive note to leave the audience with?
Yeah, if she says he's just a creep, it probably means she's interested, just self-conscious about how she's going to look.
So that's what the moral of the shirt.
I don't know how that could be immoral, but